For what?
Hey friends, this is Neethi the pharmacist. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Food Church live and on our YouTube channel. Today, I'd like to welcome the Jacksons, Derrick and Paige Jackson. Welcome to the Food Church. Hey friends, this is Neethi the pharmacist. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Food Church live. Oops. Okay. I have to push mute. I'm still new. Sorry. Okay. Hey guys. So for everybody out there that's tuning in, I wanted to introduce you to Paige and Derrick Jackson, who I think are so brave because they have decided that they are going to farm in a new way. And first, I'd like to start, Derrick and Paige, with you guys just telling everyone a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and then letting everyone know how you arrived into regenerative farming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start.
Sure. So, like Neethi said, I'm Derrick, and I'm a first generational farmer. There are people in my family that farm, but I think I visited the farm maybe 2 or 3 times in my childhood in the Delta of Mississippi, where they grow soybeans and corn. And I only went out there to fish, so I didn't really do any farming. I spent the last 14 years in the U.S. Army Special Operations Command, where Paige and I traveled and lived in numerous states and cities across the United States, and I've spent a good amount of time abroad, so about 2 years ago, Paige and I decided that we're gonna make a transition from active duty military to full-time farming. I guess that transition happened very, very rapidly, and I'm trying to think of, long story short, is Paige and I was not satisfied, or we were just kind of irritated, and I guess we felt, or I felt like there was a lack of transparency in the way that the food that I was consuming was being produced. So, and because I could not really trace anything, I was just kind of like, hey, well, something has to change. And how that came about, now we are, and I'll let Paige and Neethi go into details about it, but because I'm a little long-winded when I talk about it, but we are now managing and farming on 170 acres as of today. We acquired an additional 100 acres yesterday, which is like speeding up, or I guess aiding in our abilities to really focus on the regenerative aspect of farming, which is what we want to do. And if anybody knows anything about us, chickens and pasture poultry and forestry hogs is what we're known for. And we do grass-fed beef, but we don't sell it yet because we have we're still growing a herd. And now that we have the land to do more expanding so that we can really do it the way that we believe is the right way, now we're able to do that. So, but yeah. Oh.
So my name is Paige, and I'm Derrick's wife. My background is I worked as a social media marketing coordinator, but that's kind of like my secondary job. My full-time job is being a mom to 5 kids, and we're homeschooling right now.
Yep.
And we do have kids present in the midst of this video. So if you hear them, that is what's going on. We tried to, brief them for this, but sorry for admitting you here. So yeah, I'm a mom, and being a military spouse, that was kind of a big adjustment, and always being on the go and having to adjust quickly and rapidly. So in a lot of ways, that prepared us for what we decided to do here. Yeah, I don't have a farming background. we say that we're students of, or graduates, not even, I mean, we're still students of YouTube
Yeah.
University. We
Yeah.
haven't graduated. We're still in it. And that's kind of in a nutshell,
Yeah.
like how we got into it.
I'm like super excited right now. I have chills all over because I'm like, what? They got so much more land. Oh my God. Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. So, okay. You could be saying that you're just in your infancy, but y'all, Paige and Derrick are like, I'm gonna say badass. I'm sorry for that. I'm just like so like you're so brave. You're really brave because you guys, and you're real smart about everything that you're doing. You know, I'm still stuck right now on the 170 acres. Sorry, I was just
Yeah, that's kind of new.
I'm just super excited right
Stuff
now.
happens fast, so.
Yeah.
You guys, okay, for anybody who doesn't know, then my local CSA, Paige and Derrick anchor the CSA. When we were forced into commercial space, then or because of the COVID chaos or whatever, then I told everybody who I was working with, including Paige and Derrick, like, okay, it's time to just go big if we're going to do this, because the eaters, first I said I was going to quit. And then the eaters were like, no. And they funded the space for us to be able to move into, which gave us the opportunity to pivot all last year. We moved the business twice. And now we're in a space that we can control and we can own. And as we were working, I mean, at that time, Paige and Derrick were just providing me with pork because that was what I was short on. And then when we moved into that other space, then I had to ask all the farms to step up and become members, which I've never asked the farms to participate in that way. And in previous conversations, you guys, I've said that was kind of, excuse me, one second. Just got choked up. But I've never asked farmers to really step up because I felt like that was what we were doing, was like trying to help grow and support regenerative farmers because they were basically being pushed out. And I mean, not just basically they're pushed out. They're pushed out. They were dismantled. They weren't being supported. And eaters, you know, still really most eaters have no idea what's going on. And so when everything was collapsing last year, then, you know, some of the farms I'm working with wanted to step up. Some didn't want to step up. And Paige and Derrick wanted to step up. And everywhere that we had holes, they just filled in all the gaps. And now they just added 1 million acres. I'm like super excited. I cannot even tell you. And what a risk. What a risk.
Right.
And I told Paige and Derrick, I was like, well, if I move out, I'm gonna put my foot on the gas. And I have never put my foot on the gas because I never just have food to put my foot on the gas. And my kids are like, you know, well, if Mr. Jackson says it, it's coming. It'll be here. And they always deliver. They always deliver.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, my eyes are just watering. I'm just like, this is so amazing.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that you're amazed by it because it is. Yeah. So I know it's a different thing to actually execute it and get it, opposed to just talking about it, because we have been talking about it for some time, and I have been doing some looking, and I've been looking around and looking for the right land and looking for some more land, and it's like, okay, well, here it is, and it's right where you want it, so here you go. And now that we're doing it, it's just, you know, now it's exciting time. So, and I think it happened at a good time too, because we were still at the point where it's like, well, if Nethi, this is me talking, if Nethi grows, then we have to grow.
Yeah.
So because we don't like to be, or I don't like to be, I don't like to have someone depending on me. And then it's like, well, we're waiting, but we know that you can do it, but we're just waiting. And and I don't like that. Like, that's not, people start to not to lose interest, but they get hungry. And when people get hungry, you know, they're going to eat. So.
Yeah. Well, and I know this interview is about us, but I feel like we kind of have to talk a little bit about our relationship with you, Neethi, because I found Neethi online. Like, I don't even know what article I read, but Derrick and I were like, okay, so we need to make some changes, right? Like, farmers markets aren't cutting it. We got to do something different. So, like, Derrick does this thing where he just kind of says stuff like, we got to do this. And I'm like, okay, so now let me figure out how to put these pieces together and make it happen, right? So I
think out loud.
Whatever you want to call it. And so I start calling like local grocery stores and just like, you know, people who I think would be interested in our product. So I really feel like the way that we kind of connected with you was just providential, because I called Neethi, and Neethi, I remember this. You answer the phone and you're like, how did you find me? It was like I was like, I don't know, like I found someone I wasn't supposed to find, and I was like, I found you online. I don't know. You had an interesting blog post. I read it and it was like, maybe we could supply her with meat. This is what we're doing. So then Neethi proceeds to be like, well, okay, so you need to read my book. But also you should probably join Food Church. And so I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. Send me a link. So I joined the Food Church and, you know, kind of sit in on this whole like world of conversations and people that I've never met before, but that was just really good for us. And then I read Neethi's book. And then at that point, after I read your book, I was like, okay, I feel like she's good people. I think we need to talk to her. I think we need to meet her. This could be a legit partnership for us. And the rest is history.
That was Paige's answer to the, okay, we need to sell. Like, sales have to increase. So we need to sell more.
The church.
And I see her reading this book all of a sudden about, I see this interesting, something that I would read, because I'm one of those, I would just read stuff, like random farming stuff. And I see Paige reading this book and I'm like, what are you reading? And she's like, I think, you know, and all of this stuff just starts coming out. And it's like, Paige, I've been saying this, like some of these things they have been thoughts of mine, but I didn't really know how to really put it together. And I'm just like, what if? And then Paige is like, hey, Derrick, it's here. Like,
this is it.
She said the exact same thing, like, but she has an answer to it. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? This is the answer. Like, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that we were an answer to each other's prayers. That's what I think. I mean, that's what I really think. Because I kept thinking, like, you know, what do I have to do to just get the meat to arrive in the space? Because I felt like every time I was working with these farmers, we were stalling and spitting. Now I have to tell you guys, everybody out there who's listening in YouTube land, so I am not saying that everybody who got us this far was not important. They were so important. Every farm I ever worked with was so important. Every other farm that I work with still is very important. I mean, look, the livestock was the major piece that I always have been focused on, and getting the cleanest food and getting the cleanest livestock was always very important. And a lot of the people that I worked with to get to this moment might have been what a lot of folks right now would call like hobby farms, or, you know, more like homesteaders. But I needed people who, I mean, if I would have started out with a Paige and Derrick, I don't know how well I could have supported them, because they know how to level up and really scale. And now that I'm ready to need to be scaled, they're here. And the folks that I was working with prior, may or may not have been. I don't think anybody who's not with me right now is not with me because they weren't interested in either. They weren't really interested in scaling that way.
Mhm.
And I needed at least, I think that with you guys like really anchoring what we're doing, then we can bring in way more eaters, and we can also still support a lot of other farms that as they want to step up. And anybody who's watching this, I think that I can speak for all three of us, and you guys correct me, but I'm pretty confident that we're not afraid of there's no competition in the world that we operate in.
Yeah. No, I mean, we think we believe that it's healthy for there to be, I mean, I would never, and this is one of the things that Paige and I talked about as we were moving forward with the scaling or the expansion was, one, it was like, man, that's we're going to be doing a lot. And while I like that kind of pressure because it motivates me to work harder, right? And it also motivates us it challenges us to learn, to expound our knowledge, because in order to make, be a regenerative farm, it's kind of hard to scale for us, for a new farm, to scale with integrity. Like it really is. Like to stick to your, the core values of being regenerative is not the easiest and it's not the cheapest way. And for some people, it may not be the most profitable short term. But for some people, for us, it's been great, and it's been a great opportunity.
I think we work really hard to keep you guys in the black.
Exactly. Yep. And motivation. Exactly. Yep. But we think that it's healthy. Other farms, like, we welcome, I welcome other farmers to come alongside us to so that we can grow together. I mean, this isn't something that we want to do alone. We will do it alone, but it's not something that we're looking to do. Like, I encourage other farmers to, if they don't feel like they're in a position where they have the abilities to scale. I mean, we did this off of a enlisted salary, enlisted military salary. Like we didn't come from, nobody invested in this farm. So we grew, we expanded from profits. So not from investments. So,
I guess just to piggyback.
You mean investors?
No investors.
No investors.
You mean you expanded with profits, but not other investors.
Exactly.
You don't own, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That's correct. So I guess, to piggyback off of what Derrick was saying, I know the topic of discussion is like a new way of farming. So I think that for us, this is the way that we are farming. So I guess maybe to some people, like, this is different because, we're not generational farmers. So I guess our assets and our strong suits are, we're doing the best that we can in order to use what we have in our pocket, opposed to borrowing from people and owing people things. And this is not to shame anyone who has done those things or has made those decisions, but we have found that the more control that we can have, the better that we will be in light of like the way that we want to move in the future. So that's kind of what the trajectory that we're trying to take.
Yeah.
Let's dive into those details, because when we're saying that they're wanting to farm in a new way, how to leverage our partnership was important. A lot of people don't understand that, and maybe we can speak towards that so that they can understand what it is that we're doing. And we're seeking more partnerships within the CSA. And we're seeking more eaters, and we're ready to grow. So I wasn't in a position to really do that before because it was in my garage, but now we're in our church. We got our church. I didn't think that church was going to be built physically this fast, even when I started the Zoom church last year. Wasn't really the plan. I am very appreciative and thankful for this COVID crisis because it pushed us out. And I mean, it's pushing all of us into corners, and I mean, I welcome it, and especially with the, because you guys obviously needed it. Y'all needed it, and you were ready for it, and so, so here we are.
Yeah, so I think maybe Nita, you should explain what the food church is, because there's probably people who are tuning in on this that don't know about the food church or don't know about what you do or what you've, started. So.
Okay. So yeah, we're just kind of flowing with this. I was thinking I was really going to be just talking about you guys, but yeah. Okay. I was like, well, the food church is multifaceted in the way that we're wanting to educate people online because we want to affect this change everywhere. And my desire was always to reestablish the small family farm food system that was dismantled post World War I. And a lot of folks don't understand why that happened. And so just a real quick history lesson was basically when Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller invested in the pharmaceutical industry, then they put out this thing called the Flexner Report. And when they put the Flexner Report out into Congress, they basically what they wanted was for anyone who was practicing medicine using electromagnetic energy or claiming that the body has energy, Congress not to federally fund their work anymore. And so what that effectively did was all the, there were like 13 homeopathic universities or medical schools at that time in the country. They were people were being arrested by Congress. Because of this Flexner Report, it de facto created this law that anyone who's practicing any type of medicine based on energy in the body, they were breaking the law. And so they started arresting these physicians who were doing that, which obviously was very shocking, and it really put a lot of it scared a lot of doctors, and they quit practicing. Now, what does that have to do with the food? Everything. So basically simultaneously as that's happening, because our medical system is the most regulated, and for them to really be able to profit with this new chemistry-based medicine versus a physics-based medicine, that actually created they were doing that. They were also they had created war, right? We're in World War I. They, because of the war, women were going to work because the men were gone. And that was part of the Industrial Revolution. This is all history. People can go back and look up the Flexner Report and see the 25 different ways that it affected us. But what it basically did was centralize the food system, centralize the medical system, which centralized the workplace, broke up the family home, centralized education. Before that, there was not the centralized education even, okay? I don't know, look back to like the time of the Waltons on television, if that's something that you need as a reference point. Well, that was the Great Depression. It's a little bit later than that, but it was even I was learning as I was on my journey of trying to figure out how to heal our daughter or what had happened to her or how we were going to avoid all of that, then I'm learning all of this. And as I was learning all of this, I was like, wow, I thought that all I had to do was just fix the food and that would fix everything else. Because if we have food freedom, we can have health independence. But it's a little bit bigger than that, as we all know, because it's also big ag. It's also big pharma. It's also now big tech is involved because they won't even let us talk about it because we keep getting shadow banned everywhere because we use the internet to share this information. So it got way bigger, right? As the food church, I was just hoping for us to be able to have a place where we could share this history that isn't being taught anywhere else. We can help farmers and eaters reconnect. I mean, my book is supposed to be a bridge. My book is a bridge between eaters and farmers. And realized, right, or at least Paige got it, that's what the book was for. The book is to connect the eaters with the farmers, because the language that eaters and producers speak is very different. Mainly because if you're in town, you're so disconnected from the food, you don't understand what's going on. If you're out on a farm, then a lot of farmers don't also realize how to use what they're raising as medicine, because they're not really haven't put that together, because they're just, you're farming and you're doing 100 other things and taking care of a million other heartbeats, and you're keeping all of them alive, and you don't even realize how valuable that is for all of us. I think you do and you don't. Like, speak to that, Paige. I just said a lot. It's a lot to unpack.
No, I mean, I think that's real. I think that a lot of farmers are sometimes just focused on farming, right? And where I think, where Derrick and I kind of bring something maybe a little different to the table is that as a husband and wife, we work together as a team. So we say, like, Derrick is the farmer with the capital T, right? And capital F, sorry, farmer with capital F. And, where I'm still doing farm work, it's just not on, as the same skills Derrick, but I would say, like, his weaknesses are my strengths in some aspects. And so, yeah, like, I would completely agree that when it comes to trying to explain, like, what that looks like to our, eaters or consumers, there definitely is a disconnect, and you really do need, like, another kind of, like, piece in there so people can kind of understand, like, what it looks like to eat economically, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, chicken. We talk about chicken all the time.
Yeah.
We have people.
Wait a minute, medicinally. Okay,
medicinal. That's a whole.
Derrick doesn't have a weakness. His strength is the farming.
Yeah.
Paige's strength is the communication.
Yeah.
My strength is the pharmacy.
There you go. Yep. That's it.
And so if a farmer understands how to leverage the pharmacy, the FARM pharmacy, then not the PHARM pharmacy.
Yeah.
Right.
Then, like, I can tell Derrick what I need for the medicine for the people, and he'll make it happen on the ground. Because I can't say that I'm the expert of what he's doing on the ground at all. But I can say that I can take what he brings me and I can make it work for the people to gain their health.
Yep.
Yeah. Paige is the glue that holds all that stuff together and keeps us all focused. He said something to her, and then I say something to her, and then she says, okay, this is how we got to do it.
Yeah. That's how it works.
That's basically how it works. Yeah. Or that's it.
I think just to Paige and I guess that is the farming model. Paige, it took me a minute to get this out. I was trying to communicate this to Paige as to what this actually looks like. Like, what does this model look like? And I can't remember what we were talking about exactly, but I told Paige, I was like, the farms that get it, all right? And there's a few of them out there, and the ones, and if you name them, and I can tell you if they get it or not, because I probably, like, studied them or, like, stalked their everything, right? Yeah. But the farms that get it, like, there is a farmer with a capital F, right? And that farmer, while he isn't the only farmer on the actual ranch or property or farm. Right. That farmer is just he or she focus is primarily, I see the big picture, and I know at the end of the day that this is what we need to produce. I know that I need to produce healthy, good quality pork, chicken, and beef. That's what I need to produce, right? That's what I can see. That I know that as a farmer and with a capital F, that is my primary focus. Now, I thought that starting this, that I could do it all, right? I was like, oh, I can go to the farmer's market and I can do this. I can sell this stuff. While I like talking to people and I enjoy it, like, I'm a people's person, I'm not the best salesman because I like they say I talk too much. They say I talk too much. And I tell them, I'm like, no, it's because, you're trying to sell a pork chop and I'm trying to sell the lifestyle, right? I'm trying to sell this lifestyle to them. And so anyway, and then that's when we kind of looked at it and was like, oh, okay, well, it's just different roles. While Paige is a farmer, she's looking through this end product, the overall picture as a, through the lenses of a communications, as a wife, as a mother, like that's where her focus is. So she has to produce this product, but she has to look at it through a different lens. And then the same thing for you, like, you're looking at it through, while we can all farm if we wanted to, we all have our strengths. And like, while your lenses are different than my lens from Paige, together is what makes it successful. So
our powers combined.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, collaboration, and I said that in the book too. I was like, look, once somebody can't do everything,
No.
they just can't do it. Yes, you could do it, I guess, if you really had to do it. I'm not going to say you can't do it. How long are you going to do it? That's a different thing.
Exactly.
How well are you going to do it?
Yeah.
That's a different thing. And so, for anybody who's out there, use my book as a tool. That's what it's for. It is a bridge between you and an eater, for the eater to know what you're doing and for them to even value what you're doing, I think. You could just tell me if I'm wrong about any of this, but with the three of us working here locally, it is even more powerful, I feel, because, I know that if someone wants to go visit the farm, then they're going to have to talk to Derrick and Paige. And, that's good. They should go. Anybody should go. I'm like, schedule a time, because they're happy for you to come out there and see it. You got to just call them, make an appointment, and they'll be happy to show you. But we're not missing any beats on this. But when you started to come into this, first of all, let's go back for 1 second. Yeah. So you were in the military, and you're coming out of the military, and what makes you say, let's do regenerative ag or agriculture at all? Or because you weren't from a farm family. So what happened? I'm glad it happened, but how did it happen?
So it started with health concerns. I started feeling sick, and because of my job in the military, there was no reason why I should be getting sick, like what the doctors were saying. It wasn't like I was like, I had diabetes or something. It wasn't a diagnosis of anything. It was just, that's more than likely something you're eating. Like, it's just because I didn't eat very well. I ate balanced meals, but I had a nutritionist that told me this is what you should eat in the morning, this is what you should eat at lunch, anyway, to help me maintain weight or to put on more weight, muscle, whatever. And I'm working out with a trainer, so it didn't make sense why I was getting sick. And Paige, I don't know what Paige saw or something, but she was like, hey, I think that, I noticed something that whenever I eat ice cream or something, the next morning I wake up and I'm just super congested. And I'm like, or when we've consumed a whole lot of dairy. I eat ice cream a lot. I kind of heard it, but I didn't. And then Paige was like, oh, there's a supplement that you can take. That way you can keep eating your ice cream, because I know you like eating it so much. And I was like, I'm not taking a supplement so that I can eat ice cream. That's why is the ice cream making my body do this? It hasn't always done this. Why all of a sudden? And after a little bit of research, comes to find out it was because of now that I know better, it was the quality of milk or dairy that I was eating or consuming. And it wasn't the levels, it was just because of the type that I was eating. It wasn't, Paige can speak more about it, but that was what sparked the whole, wait a minute, why is all that stuff in milk? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why is there so much milk? And why would a doctor tell somebody that you're drinking too much milk? I thought milk was healthy. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But a doctor said, oh no, you're drinking too much milk. It's like, what? That's crazy. But, and then I started reading, and I started looking into different people that had the same thing. And then I came about What was the first book?
Joel Salatin's book?
Was it Joel Salatin's book?
It was a lot of books.
It was a few podcasts, and then it was Joe Salatin's book. You Can Farm.
Yeah.
You Can Farm.
I think so.
Yeah. So that was it. It's Pasture Poultry Profits was the first one. And I read, I was like, man,
we're a couple of his books. So it's hard to keep track.
But the You Can Farm was the one that was like, whoa, like, okay, this is.
But back to your question about why we landed on regenerative, really because it just made sense. I mean, I guess to just put it plain and simple, when we kind of went down this path of like trying to learn more about our food and where it was coming from and getting transparency, we realized that there was a lot of greenwashing, like number one, when it comes to going to the grocery store. So that then led us to actually going to farms and farmers and like visiting farms. Like we're going with our family, like, let's go to a farm, let's try to find food. And, after visiting some farms and seeing like, I don't know about that.
100% grass fed,
but you're saying
you got 15 cows and 2 acres.
Yeah,
like,
that's not working for us. So, it then became this like, all right, well, how do we gain more transparency? Okay, that means having a relationship with someone. That means actually knowing what they're doing, what they're feeding. So when we found a poultry farmer, he ran out of chicken. And Derrick was like, how do you run out of chicken? You're a chicken farmer.
That's all you sell. You don't sell anything
on top
else.
Of this, you should have chicken. And then Derrick's like, man, why don't we just do this ourselves? Yeah. And I was like, I don't know about that.
I was saying, how are you a chicken farmer? You ain't got a chicken.
Yeah.
So, we're not.
That's all you sell.
So we were just really confused by this, right? And at this point, we were like, we haven't even gone to the grocery store for a long time for meat. So, why would we do this? So Derrick's like, we should just raise our own chicken. I've been reading this book and it takes this long to do it. We could do it. That's when I followed Joe Salatin. Joe Salatin got us doing this because he was reading the book and he was like, I can do this. And, at this point, this is all pillow talk, right? Like Derrick's like, yeah, we should, I'm thinking about doing this. And then all of a sudden he sends me this text message of a receipt for chickens. And I'm like, so I'm real like, where are these chickens going? Did you buy these chickens? And he's like, yes, I ordered these.
It was like, what? It was one of those nights when I was eating ice cream, Paige had gone to sleep, and I was like, I had just finished watching a YouTube video of Joe Salatin speaking at this conference, and he was like, somebody asked him the question was like, well, what if you live in an HOA and what if you like, you live in a city and all this? And Joe Salatin was like, you should just do it. Like, just do it. Worst case, you're not going to go to jail for trying to feed your family. And I was like, boom, there it is. This is my house. Like, I should be able to raise chickens on my grass.
So then he orders the chickens. So listen, now we have never unpacked this story in detail, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more details about the story. So then Derrick's like, well, so he orders these chickens and I don't even know where I was, but he texted me the receipt, right? And I'm like, okay, what's happening? So then of course I go into like, all right, okay, this is what we about to do. Let me try to help this because clearly this is what we're doing. We have chickens coming and I'm pregnant but I'm pregnant with baby number 5, okay? So I start calling people because we don't have a backyard. Like we had a front yard. We had a front yard. we had no backyard. We had no fence. So I'm like,
fences were not authorized in our HOA.
Right. So I was like, okay, bet I'm gonna find somebody with some land, right? So I start calling people and I'm like, hey, do you have like a backyard that's like not used or something? Because we need land. We just ordered some chickens. I don't really know how much land they need, but I know they need land. I'm literally calling everybody that I know. Okay. Finally, I find this girl from church. Her mom has like an old like trailer
dilapidated house,
but it's on land. It's on land. And I was like, okay. And she's like, oh, you want to raise some chickens? I got a chicken coop and everything. Like I was like, this is perfect. So we go out, we see this land, and I'm like, okay, we can do this. and it's on well water. Like, you know, it was a good setup. It was like right.
It was still in the city limits.
It was still in city
Yeah,
limits,
but
like
it was
right
still-
on the
it was-
border.
yeah.
So we were like, this is perfect. So we then go and say, okay, we're going to just raise the chickens here, right? So Derrick gets the land cleared and we're like, we're about to do it. But then the chickens come earlier. What happened? 'Cause we decided not to do it.
The chickens came and we
We
had
had
them
the
at the
baby.
house. No, they were at the house.
I can't
We
even
had
laugh.
no, they came and the plan was we were going to keep them in a brooder for the 3 weeks.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then we were going to put them on pasture, but we were going to take them to the new property once they were ready to go to pasture.
Right.
So
But I had a baby.
Paige had the baby. And I was like, wait a second. If we take those chickens over there, I gotta go over there 2 or 3 times a day with a new. I was like, nah. So I built a chicken tractor, and this is what happened. So if anybody really, this is the truth. I built a chicken tractor at the house. I found this guy who builds chicken tractor. Got his book, and I built a chicken tractor. I was gonna do Joe Science's tractor, but it was too intimidating, honestly, and I'm not a carpenter. So I was like, I can't do that. I'm probably the first person to ever say they couldn't build that tractor. No, so we built it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna take it over there to the property once we're ready. But then I realized I didn't have a way to move the chicken tractor because we didn't have a trailer. So the chicken tractor had to stay at the house.
Like thing after thing. And I'm thinking, I just had a baby.
Oh my God. You guys are so funny. Okay, let me tell y'all what. Y'all sound like me when I went up to Polyfaith. Okay. I had just been to this savory reunion, the global savory reunion on White Oak Pasture with Valerie. You know Valerie.
Yeah.
And then I took her with me to Polyfaith so she could see the difference between the 2 farms.
Yeah.
And I'm telling her because I'm writing my book, and she was reviewing my book, and she was like, what is this you're talking about in the book? You know, and I don't understand. And so I was showing it to her, like in front of, and she was just like, oh my gosh, it's so different or whatever. So we get up to Polyfaith, and I tell Joel, you know, Joel didn't really know me very well at that time. I mean, he had come down and done some talks here. And I mean, he had an idea who I was, but he didn't really know my story in context until he read the book, right? He had no idea. So we go up there, and I tell him, I said, well, you know, I'm writing this book, right? And I'm going to ask you to help me with that. And if you think the book's terrible, you just tell me, and I'm not going to publish it or anything, you know. And he's just like, okay, crazy person, you know. And then he said, well, you know, I'm going to tell you the truth, right? I said, well, I want you to. I said, if you think it's terrible, I'm just totally not even going to publish it. Yeah. I said, if you like it, I want you to write the foreword. And if you don't like it, then I'm just not going to do it. He goes, well, do you know how to publish a book? I said, well, no, but you published like 12 of them. So you're going to tell me, right? So you sound like, you know what he says to me? He says, so do you often just do things that you don't know anything about how you're doing? I said, well, I read all your books. I mean,
I basically know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's your books, okay? Yep. It told me I could do whatever I wanted.
Right.
And I'm doing it.
And now you guys are doing that. So
Yep. That's what we did.
Pretty much. Mm-hmm. Pretty much what we did.
No, this is all your fault. Everything that's going on is because you just said, well, you can do it. So we were like, okay.
Yep. And what was the we did the chicken tractor. We go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
We raise them and everything, they're done. And after that, you know, Paige is, I'm gonna try to get this right this time, because she said I don't want to be telling the truth. I said, okay, why don't we, I think there's a way that we can do this full time. Right. And this is, again, I didn't tell her where I got it from, but it was from Joe Science's book, honestly, right? Because it says it in there that you can, right? So it says it, and I looked at the numbers, and I'm like, well, he said that you can get this amount, and that was like 20, 30 years ago. Like, today, it should be a lot more than that. And that's almost exactly what we need to cover my salary, so it kind of makes sense. So I did a little bit more YouTube studies and read about some other folks that were doing the same thing. Ran into we started following Justin Rhodes and just kind of their story. And so anyway, after hearing it, it's just like, okay, Justin Rhodes is kind of like, has this newer marketing. I would say he's more of a marketer for us anyway. I believe that he's more of a marketer. And so with the two, it was just like, oh, wait a minute, you know, Paige is really good at this. I can do this. We have people seem to want to follow us and buy our chicken from our front yard, even though that is kind of weird. But when you live in a city, people want to buy their chicken. And it's like, okay, well, cool. Well, I think we can do this. And we started looking for land. And it was honestly, I went from this is my career, you know, getting this promotion of a lifetime, like, you know, you're destined, like you're on track to you can just ride it out, your retirement, and you will be good. And it was, no, I deny, I don't want it, I'm out. And I didn't tell people what I was doing yet, though, because I was afraid people were going to be like, you need to go talk to somebody because that's not normal. And you don't farm, like, you're not a farmer. But we did it. And the rest was, we started looking for land, got the land, and one chicken tractor after another, we are where we are now.
That's crazy. That's like, you know, it's so brave. It's so brave. And you guys are like that. I mean, I've been working with you for a while, and it's really cool to watch you guys, how you process things and how you make decisions. And, you know, you're not rash by any stretch of the imagination. If anybody out there thinks that they're being rash when they make their decisions, they're not. I mean, it's fast.
Yeah.
But it's not rash.
No.
You know? I mean, I think I do pretty fast moves too. And I'm not rash either. But like, you know, if you're just told, okay, well, if you do this, then this will happen, and it's proven by all these people like a Joel Salatin, or, you know, even Justin showing everybody, you know, then, and you're doing it. I mean, has it been bad so far? I mean, I don't know.
No.
I don't think so.
I think I was just thinking about your comment about it being rash, and like, you know, and I always like, you know, I don't want to say too much because you know, we're new farmers or whatever. According to the USDA, you're a new farmer until you've been farming for 10 years. Like, that's insane. Anyway.
Because you have to face so many crises between now and then, but you don't have to.
No, you don't. No, it doesn't make you stronger.
Ridiculous.
Like, it really doesn't make you any more wise or any stronger to continue to, I mean, I don't have to, you know, get a bunch of debt and to go and, you know, destroy a bunch of things before I know that something is not the right way to do something. Right. So I think the part that what made it easy for us to transition from what we were doing to this is because our lifestyle really didn't change. Like, we were always honest, and you know, we operated in integrity. Like, family values are important to us. Like, our values mean something. We like to, we own rental property, and we always talk about how we always hope that we get renters like us, because we always leave things, you know, better than we found them. Yeah. But sometimes that don't happen. So when coming into farming, it was like, well, if we do this, we want to be able to produce something that that I can feed to my kids. That I can go to sleep at nighttime and wake up in the morning. I can go to sleep, you know, without any concern, and wake up, you know, in joy and peace, knowing that what we're doing is for the better of our kids. Like, and I mean, I didn't care if it was rash. I didn't care, because it was like, well, if this is the way that it's supposed to be done, we believe that things should be left better than you receive them. Then farming should be, if that's a method in farming, like, really? You mean there's an unadulterated, like, corn or an unadulterated piece of pork? Like, yeah, those things exist. And, you know, it made sense. So it was all okay, how do we do it and maintain that? Like, how do we be sustainable in a regenerative farm? So that was probably the only thing that we had to, like, okay, well, how do we do this? It wasn't like if we're going to do it or not. It was like, if you're going to farm, this is the way that you should be farming.
Yeah, so. Yeah. And I think that maybe the misconception with a lot of young farmers is like, I'm just going to pay this new way and not listen to people who've gone before me. Mm-hmm. But I really do feel like that is a big piece into not making as many mistakes. Like, listen to the people that are around you and who know more than you, because their information is valuable. And so like this week I've been learning about caring for a dairy cow, and it's been a very interesting experience. I didn't mean to talk about this, but it just kind of seems to go together. So I'm one of those people where it's like, if someone tells me something, like, okay, maybe this is a better example. I've realized that I have a gluten intolerance, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, if this is my life, then I'm going to figure out how to make the best of this life. So I've made gluten-free sourdough cinnamon buns, gluten-free sourdough pizza, like all of these things. And yes, it has been a challenge.
Some of them bad.
But like working with this dairy cow, the farmer that I'm working with, she's like, I've been watching you, Paige. And she's like, you and Derrick both have this attribute that not a lot of people have. She's like, a lot of people, when something is hard, they run away from it. But you run towards it and you try your best to figure it out until you get it figured out. And she was like, a lot of people would be scared of a mom, mooing like crazy because her baby is taken away from her. She's like, but you just dump with all the poop and the pee and you're just in it. And and it's like, stepping back, I was like, I didn't really think about that. Like that's kind of the way that we operate. But I guess now hearing someone else say that, I was like, maybe it is. I accept challenges, and instead of saying I'm just gonna be a broke farmer. No, we don't want to be broke farmers. We trying to be profitable farmers who, what I'm saying, not living lavish, but
I would say that you don't just run towards difficult things. I wouldn't say that. You're very strategically moving towards things that are going to that work because you've seen other people make them work.
Yep.
And then you're just like, okay, all right, let's see. Okay, Polyface is doing this, so it's possible. I mean, I know I said to you that I was going to make you be like the Polyface over here local for the demonstration. And then Paige is like, I don't know if that's what we're going to really do. But yeah, see? And then you got all this land now, and it's like so fun. And you're just like, but I mean, you're very strategic. Everything makes sense. It's not like you just said, oh, I just need to make gluten-free sourdough, cultured bread, or whatever. I mean, there was a reason for that. I mean, we talked about it. You're not just diving into the hardest thing. I mean, I think that you might regret having figured that one piece out, but yeah. You're just like, oh my gosh, I'm gaining health, but I really hate this. And it would have been easier just to eat pizza, but okay. Okay.
Get her cup, please. Yeah. And so one of the things
your attitude is just really good, and it's always very smart. And you're not afraid to listen. You're not afraid to listen. And that's important. I mean, from people who are being successful before you.
Yeah. We don't know everything. So I think
go ahead, Derrick.
What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say a lot of the times people, one of the things that we hear a lot, and I used to bite my tongue on it. People what? Well, you don't have to. Are you trying to be like Polyface? And it's like, well, I mean, if you think about it, I know a couple of other farms that are doing similar things, and they're doing, but I don't know them. They're not very open about what they're doing. They may be doing these things, and there may be somebody there's just a guru at it all, right? But these people, I don't know them. I don't know anything about them. So for us to say that, we are aspiring to be more like a farm that's been around for 10 or 15 years plus, that are still, holding to the integrity, of the land, of their practices, then yes, that is something that we're aspiring to. We want for there to be something when we leave. We don't want to be known as, oh yeah, that's the farm that, they came in, they tried these things, and now, or they sold out to X, Y, and Z so that they could go and do something else, while now Grass Grazed is something of, something commercial. So,
well, you know what? I think that the thing that I really love about you guys is that you are educated and you do continually learn, and you're not afraid to be taught. You're like people in the chat are like saying, you're teachable, and that's important. But so what is wrong with following the model of giants, of folks that are working? Like, I don't understand that. That is, with what is happening in the world right now today, the training of all these institutions, the training of all of these centralized systems that have done nothing except for divide, conquer, and dismantle and make it impossible for anyone to be successful, while you have these other folks, like when you get your feet back into the soil, then you find your full power. I mean, Derrick, I see you in your full power. You too, Paige. You guys are in your full power. There is no fear, and there shouldn't be any fear. And, but the centralized systems are wanting everyone to operate in fear, in division. And this is an abundant world. And that is what I always want everyone to leave with, is that this world is infinitely abundant and there is no competition. And if you're operating only in competition, that is when you are operating in lack.
Yep.
And, right now there have been a lot of horrible, people are trying to blame each other. They're fighting with each other. They're even calling Joel a racist. I mean, me and you have been working with them. You think he's a racist? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Yep. And people actually are trying to cancel, or whatever this young people cancel culture thing. I don't understand. I don't understand all that stuff. Yep. I mean, to me, I'm just like, if you want to dismiss someone who's a giant, who is a teacher, who has done nothing but grow other people, then that's your own, and shame on you, first of all, shame on you. And also, it's your loss. We're over here gaining off of it. Yeah. I find that relationship incredibly valuable. And I find my relationship with you guys incredibly valuable. All we're doing is growing and learning and having fun together. I mean, I think we have fun all the time. We're working hard, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun because it's for your kids. It's for our future. It's for our health. I mean, how do you feel now, Derrick?
Now? Oh, health-wise? Oh, I'm great. Well, Paige has, I was still eating ice cream. I was eating better ice cream. But
is it raw ice cream? Is she making raw ice cream?
No, not yet.
I'm working on that.
No, not just yet. We're eating.
I can show you how to do it. It's not hard, girl.
Yeah. No, I got to get a machine. I'm working on that. That's like the next phase.
Or you can have the kids shaking it in ice bags.
That's a method. But no, you brought up a good point about people, the training. And that's one of the things that I knew leaving the military is something that I wanted to do. I feel like I'm a teacher. Like, I want to share things that I learn. I'm not a know-it-all. I welcome, any type of, I welcome all constructive criticism, as well as information that others may offer. I mean, I still don't do a whole lot of talking, because I don't feel like sometimes that I don't feel as comfortable, talking about certain things, but I do feel comfortable talking about, yes, it's about encouraging. Yes, you can do this. There are methods, there are ways of doing it. You can learn. It doesn't take going to school or growing up in a family, in a generational family farm, to know anything about farming, because I know some people that did that, and the only thing they know how to do is drive a combine, and that's it. They don't know anything about soil health. Like, that's the last of, they don't know. So, education and training is a big deal. And I've gone, and it's one of the things that I'll continue to do. Like, I've gone to other farms that are doing things, experts that are people that have proven themselves to be experts in their craft, and I've studied with them, and I've seen the way Baker's Green Acres are doing things up in Michigan, and I've been to Polyface. I haven't been on a tour yet, but I've been there. And I've seen the way, I've interacted with their staff and I've talked to their interns and, tried to like catch them up to see what they knew and, put the system to test and I've learned from it. Like, not everybody's an expert at everything and that's okay. Like it's no big deal. But being a farmer and going down this road, I think you have to be humble and you have to stay trained. Like you have to constantly be, learning, like, or having other people come and, just see what you're doing. And you have to continually learn and pursue it because nature is forever changing. So, and as it change, we have to adapt. So, this year, we've been running pigs for the last year. Like we've been running pigs across the land and now I've seen like what the pigs can do. Now it's just like, okay, now that we have done that, now that the pigs have cleared this land, like what can we do now in order to improve these pastures now? Oh, now it means that we need to do some seeding and we need to bring our cattle through or cut, do some trimming of trees so that we can allow our cattle to graze through our pastures that are our seeded pastures. So yeah, we're forever learning and adapting. So, and I think as long as we're doing that, we will continue to maintain our integrity. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you said some really important things there. You're always eager and understanding that it is worth the investment to to better yourself, and you invest in your education to learn things so that you can do it with more ease, and you're not going to allow yourself to make mistakes unnecessarily when you have somebody who can help you learn it the right way. And I think you're not afraid to just be wrong and or to not know and to ask for help or just ask for the education and then to continue to keep learning. As long as all of us have been working together, I think we all have done that with each other.
Yeah.
I think that's the I can't possibly be the knower of all things. I don't think any of us live long enough to be the knower of all things. So we'll just keep growing and learning. And then I love also that, you want to pay it back by teaching, so, and that makes you more proficient in whatever you're doing. It's actually just teaching us. When you're teaching people, I'm sure you're learning even more.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's actually funny to me when people say how much we teach, because it's like, I really don't feel like we're doing that. I feel like we're just like sharing life.
Yeah.
Like here you go. Yeah. And people are like, no, I just learned so much from you guys. Whenever I'm talking to you or like watching what y'all are doing online, and I'm like, I really don't feel like I'm teaching a lot of things, but no, like I feel like I'm forever a student. I will say that in all humility. I'm forever a student. And, yeah, I don't think that'll change.
No.
So.
No. Well, doing is teaching, and doing is being the example. And words don't teach. When people see what you're doing, they're like, "Oh, that is not what I thought you were saying that you did." And Paige, you and I can say that with each other about the kitchen. Like when we're seeing how we do it, it's like, oh, that wasn't what I was doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tried some things in the kitchen, and Nathan's like, no, that's not you were listening to Paige. I can tell you.
I'm not saying that. I think it's cool to see what you're doing, and you're teaching me how to do something. I learned how to make a reel. I learned how to do all these fun things.
Yeah.
Anyway, people are talking about the synergy and everything here. I love working with you guys, and I'm so excited about how this is all going to go. And it's just the very beginning. And I feel, like we've gone over the hour, but I just feel like, when you're having fun, you're having fun. And the point I wanted to make to everybody was that, was the example of how you guys are doing this together in such a different way, by actually learning from other people and also implementing those things. It allows you to move faster because you're not having to just create everything from scratch. That doesn't even make any sense, right? So thank you for everything that you guys are doing. I'm sure we're going to be having many, many more conversations. This is definitely not the last time that we're going to talk. And I hope that this conversation's been inspirational for everyone else. I mean, it has been for me, and I know you, and I just am remembering things again that, we've not even really talked about. And I love hearing the very first story when you broke out the whole chicken thing. And,
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you so much, Neethi. Like you have helped move us in so many ways. So I mean, you are so appreciated, and you are so loved by us, by our family, and by our farm. Like, we really do appreciate the work that you're doing. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And we're going to keep going. Anybody who wants to meet Derrick and Paige, besides coming here to Raleigh and checking them out, then they're also going to be with me at the Rogue Food Conference in Tennessee. So check that out, you guys. They're going to be at the Rogue Food Conference on Polyface in August. So or is it July? I think it's July.
Yeah.
Is it?
Wait.
No, wait. It's June and August, right?
June and August.
June is Tennessee and August on Polyface. And anyway, thank you guys so much. Oh, also, if they want to get your stuff and they're not in North Carolina and they can't be in the CSA or they can't see you locally, then grassgrazed.com. Grassgrazed.com is where you guys can order, and Paige and Derrick ship.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
We do.
Yeah.
Right.
Get the goodness, y'all. Get the goodness. And everybody, join us next week here on the Food Church, where I'm going to have all 5 authors of the Red Pill Revolution. So I'll look forward to seeing you guys there. Okay.